ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधिता भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणं मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणी. Many times unknown to us, the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita are changing our outlook towards life, towards this universe, towards who we are. We may not realize that we are being taken from erroneous perception to right seeing about the universe and about the essential, most basic constituents of this universe, namely space and time. This chapter 8 is making very astonishing revelations. To be specific, on time, I must admit. On space too, in a sense, today many physicists are talking about multiple universes. Therefore, they say this is not a universe, this is a multiverse. Uni means one, right? Not a universe, this is a multiverse. And multiple universes can coexist without clashing with each other. Such ideas have been proposed by certain scientists, not experimentally proved though. So when Bhagavad Gita and many other shastras of ours talk about multiple worlds all the way to Brahmaloka and then down under all the way to Patala, and then many such sets of 14 lokas are said to exist. It first looks very fictitious, but then we find that there is some truth in all of them too. So where it is a bit of a literary decoration, where it is factual, is for us to find out. In the 17th verse, which we saw in the last class, Lord Sri Krishna said, one day of Prajapati or Chaturmukha Brahma equals 1000 yugas, and one night of Brahmaji again equals another 1000 yugas. And we hasten to add, based on certain standard commentaries, that though the word yuga is used, actually it is a kalpa. Sahasra kalpa paryantam. And what is a kalpa? A set of Kali Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Treta Yuga, and Satya Yuga. Kali Yuga running into 432,000 years, human years. Let's begin with human years, as you and I calculate time. And double the Kali Yuga is the distance, is the length, duration of Dwapara Yuga. And triple, 3 times the Kali Yuga's duration is equal to Treta Yuga, and 4 times as much as Kali Yuga is Satya Yuga, also called Krita Yuga. And therefore one whole Kalpa is 10 times as much as Kali Yuga. If Kali Yuga is 432,000, the whole Kalpa is 4,320,000 human years. And that is one kalpa. Multiply by 1,000. Sahasra kalpa paryantam brahmanaha prajapatehe ekam ahaha viduhu. The wise people, who are they? They ahoratra vido janaha. They are called ahoratra vidaha. They know the day of Brahma and they know the night of Brahma. I am saying Brahma because this is not the non-dual absolute reality Brahma or Brahman of Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta. So Brahma, the crude word is the same for both. Brahman in masculine becomes Brahma, Brahmana, Brahmanaha. Brahman in neuter grammatically should become Brahma, Brahma, Brahmani, Brahmani, but since in the Vedanta Brahman is only one, without a second, it is only Brahma. Then all the vibhaktis also, only one column, no dual, no plural. Brahma, Brahma, Brahmana, Brahmane, Brahmana, Brahmanaha, Brahmani, hey Brahman. In this way, Brahman. So at many places we must know the word Brahma may stand for one of the Trinity, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. That is the case here. And Bhāshya calls it Prajapati. So, Ratrim Yuga Sahasrantam Te Ahoratra Vido Janaha Yataha Eva Kala Parichinnaha. Every world, life in any loka is bound by time, and which not only means one's stay in a certain loka comes to an end at a certain time, but by implication, it means the person or the soul, the Jivatma, returns to the earth. Earth is the reference point. Otherwise, from a higher point of view, the earth also doesn't need to be the place where it returns. It goes to many lokas, but earth is where you and I are present. We are studying spiritual science on this earth, and the earth becomes a reference. So, Kala Parichinna. In every language, sometimes, because who generated those words? Like they say, continental food. There are so many continents, but when you go to a restaurant and it says continental breakfast, this is that country like India, ruled by British before. It's the British language. After English grew in, English was born and raised in England. So continental refers to Europe, leaving out England. There is a continent. English, British would call France onwards, so many countries, continent. And we are, as you know, UK is a separate island. So here too, we say they return to the earth. So earth happens to be our reference point. Punaravartinaha. What a powerful statement. And on a spiritual note, Adi Shankaracharya, we will see later, hastens to add that all this is said to arouse vairagya in us. The greatest wealth of a spiritual seeker is increasing vairagya, not anything else. Swami Avadeshananda Giri, a very well-known speaker whose lectures are generally in Hindi, he says the greatest asset or the greatest mark of a sadhu, a sannyasi, is vairagya. It doesn't matter whether that sannyasi has many disciples or not, has a big ashram or many ashrams under him or not, travels to many countries or not. all those things. None of them matters, he says. Only thing that matters is how much vairagya, dispassion, non-attachment the sadhu has. These are the truths which have made Sanatana Dharma invincible. Sanatana Dharma then becomes so all-inclusive. Sanatana Dharma has no difficulty in fitting in any other religion into the larger picture because it has a very large angle of view and it will ever be on the earth, though externally, superficially, some changes may take place. The Shastras have talked about how space and time also not the ultimate truth or the unquestionable truth. Bhagavan Bhashyakara, namely Adi Shankaracharya says, Prajapatehe ahani yad bhavati ratraucha tat uchyate. In the so-called day of Prajapati or Saturmukha Brahma, long day of Brahma, yad bhavati, what happens? And during the so-called night of Prajapati, what goes on? Such a long duration. Many things could happen. But summarily, 18th shloka says, Avyakta vyaktaya sarvaha prabhavanti aharagame ratragame praliyante tatraiva avyakta sannake. You must take the word aharagame. Ahar is day, agama, upon arrival. When it is day or when the day of Prajapati begins, that is when from the unmanifest and therefore apparently homogeneous mass of living beings, manifest, expressed names and forms appear. Vyaktad, vyaktaya, from unmanifest, there come about, there arise the manifest. Vyaktaya. Vyakti is like abhivyakti, expression, manifestation. Being feminine in grammar, vyaktayaha, therefore sarvaha. It is not said sarve, for the word is feminine. Suppose you are worshipping Vishnu. Mahavishnu is a masculine deity. But if you use the word Devata, the word Devata grammatically is feminine. Therefore, if you say to this deity I offer flowers, when you go about using the word Devata, you don't say Asmai Devataye, you say Asyai, feminine. To this deity, Asyai Devataye, Pushpani Samarpaya. So sometimes you may wonder why is it Sarvaha? Sarvaha Vyaktaya, all forms. They say it is 84 lakhs, 8.4 crores. 84, no, 100 lakhs is 1 crore. So, Chaurasi lakh, they say. So, a little less than a crore. So many species. Within each species, and countless members are present. We talk about extinction of species in the world view or the universal view of Sanatana Dharma. Those that are extinct again may be created, may come into being in next kalpa, some other time, because it is all recycling, it is all recreation. So during so-called day of Brahma, creation takes place and all the jivatmas are working out their karma. They get karma phala, and if they deal with that in a wise way, their journey goes closer to liberation. But if they deal with what karma phala comes to them in an unwise manner, they get more and more stuck in this transmigratory existence. The second half of the shloka says, Ratri Agame. When Prajapati's night begins, Agama Prarambha, then all those countless expressions, manifestations, names and forms, living beings, from ants and elephants to figures in various worlds, other worlds, in heaven. We talk about some Nagaloka, where serpents are in larger number. So many lokas, Gandharva Loka, Kinnara Loka, and so on. The Puranas have said such things, there is hardly anything left for you and me to imagine. Therefore, about Mahabharata, there is a famous saying, Vyasocchishtam Jagat Sarvam. Vyasa has eaten everything, and then what you see in this world is a little that is left over. He has covered everything. There is nothing that Veda Vyasa did not cover in his Mahabharata, it is said. So it may be a compliment and may not be taken literally. That compliment all the same means a lot. Now, avyakta vyaktaya, and then tatreva avyakta sandnake, in that which is called sandnake. Sandna means name. Sandnake, what is named as the unmanifest, into which everything goes. Everything is quiet. Ratyagame praliyante, they get dissolved. Adi Shankara says, avyakta avyakta bhus avyakta. Prajapatehe swapavastha. Avyakta is the time when it is night for Prajapati, and in a manner of saying, because otherwise God never goes to sleep, God is ever awake. Kathopanishad says, Ya esha sukteshu jagarti. When everyone else sleeps, the Supreme Truth is awake. Here we are, of course, not talking of Supreme Truth, but one notch below Brahma. So he takes the character of the Supreme Truth. He is so close. So, in a manner of saying, something like Yoga Nidra. In Yoga Nidra, you are not asleep really, but you get more relaxed, more refreshed than in deep, regular sleep. Yoga Nidra. In 10 minutes of Yoga Nidra, they say you get as much rest as you get in 4, 5, or 6 hours of regular sleep. Therefore, those who are able to not only work for 18, 20 hours a day, but also are enthusiastic, alert, they don't make mistakes or they don't doze off here and there. They don't lose their alertness. So alert, as though they have had wonderful rest and now they have come to a function or get together or to the work table. They could be great yogis. In a few minutes, they revive themselves. Not easy for most people. Prajapatehe swapavastha. That is called avyakta. Tasmad avyakta vyaktaya vyajyante iti vyaktaya. Vyajyante is are expressed. So we have talked about it. Manifest. Stavara jangama lakshanaha sarvaha prajaha prabhavanti abhivyajyante. Abhivyakti. Stavara jangama lakshanaha sarvaha. Stavara, the unmoving, jangama, that is moving. Gam means to move. Jangama is a reduplication. Gam becomes first Gangama, Gaga, then Ga is changed to Ja. A crow becomes kakara, then ka is changed to cha, chakara. Chakara means somebody did something. Somebody did something, produced something, created something. Karoti. One of the past tense forms is chakara. And gam becomes jagama, duplication. So this is not a verbal form, but it's an adjective form, jangama. Why? What is the significance of this duplication? Gam, gangama, then becomes jangama. So gam, gangama, why that duplication, gangama? It means moving on and on and on, going further, going yet again more miles, jangama. Sannyasis are called jangamas in certain traditions especially, because the traditional sannyasi doesn't stay at a single place for probably more than 3 days. Some may not stay even more than 1 day. They keep moving. Charaiveti, charaiveti. Move, keep moving. Jangama, Stavara Jangama Lakshana. Same as what they call elsewhere. Chara Achara Lakshana. Chara Achara Lakshana. Sarva Prajaha Prabhavanti Abhivyajyate. Annaha Agamaha Aharagama. This Annaha Ahan Shabda. So it has na, therefore Annaha. But then in the compounds, it takes ra. Ahar Agamaha. Let's not go more into grammar. Nor do I know everything about grammar. I know bits and pieces which I share. Aharagamaha, the beginning of the daytime. Tasmin aharagame kale brahmanaha prabodha kale. Brahma is up. Every day we are up in the morning. At night we go to bed. Brahma also up for his day, which is Sahasra Kalpa Paryantam Brahmanaha Ahar Viduhu. Then Ratragame Brahmanaha Swapakale Praliyante. Everything is merged. Purvokte Avyakta Sannake. Goes back to where it came from. Go back the way you came, said Ramana Maharshi. When somebody asked, how do I know myself? Go back the way you came. That boy misunderstood. He had come from some village in Andhra Pradesh to this place, Tiruvannamalai. And when Maharshi Ramana, it's a very famous anecdote among Maharshi's wonderful life stories or life instances. The boy asked, he has come a long way those days, train and then some bullock cart and last part walk down, totally exhausted. How do I know the self? Atma Jnanam Katam Me Bhavishyati. And I believe in Tamil, Maharshi said, Vanda Valile Po. Vanda Vali means Vali is way. Vanda, the way you came. Go the way you came. Shiva, with so much difficulty I come and I am told, do I come here only to be told? Go back. What is this? He got embarrassed. Someone cracked a joke. Somebody was insulted in some get-together. And he got very angry. Shouted, I did not come here to get insulted. Then other person said, where do you go normally to get insulted? It's English language is, any language for that matter. You say in one sense what the other person gets in another sense. A sofa seller said, we have a new sofa which can accommodate 5 people without any problem. And the customer misunderstood. He said, that's very good to know that your sofa can accommodate 5 people without any problem. But where do I find 5 people without any problem? In this world, you want to find one person without a problem is difficult. But you say your sofa can accommodate 5 people without any problem. Where do we get 5 people without any problem? So if the salesman or the shopkeeper doesn't know the intricacies of language, you would not even appreciate. What are we saying? Yeah. So some of these jokes require a certain sense of the language, how it can mean this way too or that way too. I believe there was a board in some Singapore or somewhere, fine for parking. You can't park here. If you park your car here, you will be fined. Fine for parking. But somebody parked it there. And the police asked him, it's written there, fine. Why did you? I thought fine means okay. It is fine. I'm fine. How are you doing? Fine. So fine also means good. Fine for parking. This place is good for parking. He understood it that way. But what the police had meant, if you park here, you will be fined. So goes on and on like that. Therefore, one needs to be careful. So it is said here at the last sentence, avyakta sanyake. So manifest to unmanifest, and from unmanifest again manifest. This is how. Acharya Shankara writes a little longer sentence, nothing big really, but a little longer sentence, connecting us to verse 19. Akrita abhyagama, krita vipranasha, dosha pariharartham, banda moksha shastra pravritti safalya pradarshanartham, अविद्यादि क्लेशमूल कर्माशय वशाच्च अवशः भूतग्रामः भूत्वा भूत्वा प्रलीयते इत्यतः संसारे वैराग्य प्रदर्शनार्थं च इदम् आह. The next verse, please understand, is especially with the purpose of arousing, awakening dispassion in us. We have dispassion deep within. In fact, every time we go to deep sleep, it's an expression of the tremendous vairagya we have. When we go to deep sleep, we say, I don't want my house, I don't want my car, I don't want my family, I don't want anything. Don't even want to see them, I don't even want any contact with them. And one goes to sleep. So, in a sense, if not in full sense, it is great vairagya. Even the criminal goes to sleep. So anybody, an artist, creative person, Tom, Dick and Harry go to sleep. So then they let go of everything. The 8-year-old girl is holding her doll so tightly, doesn't allow anybody to touch the doll. But then she goes to bed holding the doll in her tight embrace. But as deep sleep overpowers her, she rolls 3 times on the large bed. The doll falls on one side of the bed. She also falls down on the other side of the bed. And though she has fallen down, she is asleep. Just a while ago, how attached she was to the doll. Now, how come she is so detached? Vairagya she got. But the challenge is not going to sleep when we are much up and awake. You are walking through a bazaar, market. You are going up and down a super mall. You have enough money also. You have debit card, credit card, and all those. Anything you want, you can buy. But as the Jivan Muktananda Lahari says, Pure Pauran Pashyan. Even though one is going through the streets of a city where there are wonderful men, beautiful women, children, shops, everything. Munirna Vyamoham. Guru Diksha Kshatatamaha Munihi Vyamoham Na Yati Na Bhajati Munirnavyamoham bhajati Guru Diksha Kshatatama is the last line of that wonderful work, Jivan Muktananda Lahari. The Anandalahari, waves of happiness are rising continuously in a person who is in a body has not died, is very much operating in the body, and yet Jivan Dehadharana Samaye Eva Mukta, Jivan Mukta. That is a Muni, thanks to his Brahmajnana, going through the world, na vyamoham bhajati. Guru Diksha Kshata Tamaha, his tamas, his darkness, his ignorance is Kshata, destroyed by Diksha, the Jnana Diksha, the wisdom imparted by his Guru. Munirna Vyamoham Bhajati Guru Diksha Kshatatamaha. So, like that, when there is Vairagya, but hardly anybody has Vairagya. Alas, what a pity! Shankaracharya connected this way. Next shloka is meant to arouse Vairagya in us. How does it do it? Showing to us that everything is impermanent. You go after something, you want to possess, you want to keep that object or that person with yourself. But time flies, that object is destroyed, the person dies, something or the other. Life is so transitory, so transient, so unsteady. 3 days back in Pune, two 24-year-old young IT professionals were going back from a get-together, some party in the evening, I guess, on a motorbike, happily. Maybe they came from different parts of the world. They were happy, enjoying their profession, enjoying the beautiful city of Pune, going on motorbike. Grahachara, suddenly a 17-year-old boy brings at high speed, I guess the pronunciation is Porsche, brings a Porsche car which is supposed to cost several crores of rupees. Several crores of rupees. Brings that at high speed and hits them. Both of them are dead. And politicians now are making statements for this government, against that government, for this, for that. Raging controversy. Anyway, let me not go into more details of that. I also read 2 lines only in news.google.com. So, think of the parents of those two 24-year-old young men in Pune earning quite possibly a good salary. Parents and others would have had great dreams about them. Mothers of both those boys especially would have said with much pride, my son is in Pune. And you know how much salary he gets. Already he has bought a flat there. Already, etc. She might be saying, but gone, both of them dead. 17-year-old boys. First taken to what is called juvenile court, and some verdict was given which has generated some controversy. Okay, so the next verse, in fact, this whole prasanga or whole prakarana is to awaken vairagya in us. We have deep inside us, but it is covered, it is obstructed by these attachments and aversions, superficial ones, but they cover it. There is a technical expression here we must know, akrita abhyagama. Our Shastras are so particular on the karma siddhanta, that is what you go through today is the result of what you had done. That karma, maybe in a previous life, is making you suffer or pay for it at this moment. Why do they insist so much? Suppose, oh, suppose you are suffering for something which you had not done. Akrita means you had not done anything wrong, but you are paying for somebody else's fault. That would be a dosha called akrita abhyagama, where you had not done akrita. Krita means done, akrita, not done. Right? So where you had not done anything wrong, you are paying heavily. And then some other place, krita vipranasha. You had done some good work, but no benefits are coming to you. Krita, you did good work, vipranasha, as though the results of it are destroyed already. Then that would not be accepted. Somebody once asked me in a question answer, Swamiji, we have not done anything wrong in this life, but we are going through very hard times, very hard times. Is it because of something we had done in our past lives? I said, yes, that is what the karma theory of Sanatana Dharma says. But how unfair! We don't remember what wrong we had done in our last life. So whether you remember or not, you must have done something. But that's very unfair, they said. Then I said to them, suppose in previous life also you had not done and you are suffering. That would have been more unfair. You have not done anything at all, even in any life before, but you are suffering this way. Compared with that scenario, where you are suffering for no fault of yours anytime, anywhere, this situation where you are paying a price for what you did in a previous life, maybe you don't remember, that's a different aspect of the matter. In this way, Akrita Abhyagama and Krita Vipranasha are two flaws if Karma Siddhanta were not to be right in place. For something you never did and not paying for something which you had done, both are flaws, whereas Karma Siddhanta says what you are today is the result of what you had done before. Bandha Moksha Shastra Pravritti Safalya Pradarshanartham. There is a Bandha Shastra, that is the Shastra which talks about how you get more bound or how you get closer to a possible liberation. And there is Moksha Shastra. What is moksha? How exactly do you come upon moksha? And all this, you get engaged in dharma, you get engaged in Upanishadic learning, pravritti. Does it make any sense at all? Why should I attend Vedanta classes? No, please attend Safalya. You will get the benefits of it. It becomes truly rewarding for you. To show this, then avidya the klesha mula karma shayavashacha. Avidya, kama, karma, they are all causes for much misery eventually. So, there is a great karma ashaya, great collection of our purva janma krita karma. So, in the process, which is not on. No, it's okay. Shankaracharya, in the name of connecting to the next shloka, actually gives a beautiful sense of what the Shastras are all about. Study of the Shastras and living the teachings brings us closer to liberation. Avidyadi klesha mula karmashaya vasatya avashaha, helplessly. You can't put your hand in fire and say, now I will decide whether to get burnt or not. You put your hand in fire, you get burnt. Avashaha. Can't, there's no choice. Like that, multitudes of living beings, Bhuta Grama, Grama here is Samudaya. Grama is Samuha. Huge numbers, huge collections of living beings. Bhutva Bhutva. That means being born and being born again. So many lives. Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam. Praliyate. Punarapi Maranam is the Praliyate. Bhutva is Janma. Ityataha Sansar. So please understand, why do you want to laugh a little and cry a lot, and again laugh a little, then cry a lot? Little laughter, enjoyable, and it leads to crying. They alternate. So don't you want to have lasting peace? That is Vairagya. In this way, so Klesha, one of the Tippanakara says, the word Klesha is used in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. There 5 kinds of Klesha are mentioned. Avidya, Asmita, Raga, Dvesha and Abhinivesha. Spiritual ignorance itself is a misery. It's cause of misery, but in a manner of saying. Asmita, certain pride, identification. Raga and Dvesha, likes and dislikes. Abhinivesha is so identified with the body that there is a fear of death. So, Klesha, the word, technical word in Patanjali is Yoga Shastra. And then there are the words Shankaracharya has used have their roots in Yoga Shastra, it seems. The Yoga Sutra again, second chapter, 12th Sutra says, it is the kleshas which cause the Jivatma to accumulate more vasanas, and then the repository of Purva Karma, that is Purva Karma Phala, happens. So, those who are familiar with another language, another technical language, here Yoga Shastra, would see at many places. So, this is used very rightly in the same sense as Patanjali uses in his masterpiece, magnum opus. He wrote the Yoga Sutras. So, by showing this repetitive nature, Sri Krishna is trying to make Arjuna get a broader picture. Whenever we see the broader picture, we don't get overly identified or attached. When we see narrowly, the pleasure that we get for a little while, we are only seeing that, oh, this will be so good. A person with hypertension is asked not to take food with salt, or at least food with much salt, but some pakoda, some samosa, something, and his mouth waters and he visualizes the pleasure that would come to him when he eats it, completely forgets what the result could be. So, what is Vairagya? You know this is delicious, but you see the larger picture. Delicious, I will enjoy when I eat it, but in half an hour, I may get some problems. So, thank you to keep away. That's what the Shastra does. We'll just read this next one. भूतग्रामः स एवायम् भूत्वा भूत्वा प्रलीयते रात्र्यागमे अवशपार्थ प्रभवति अहरागमे. The first sentence concludes with Ratragame of the second half. In other words, Bhutagrama sa evayam bhutva bhutva praliyate Ratragame. You put a comma there if you are holding a book. Then the second sentence is Avashaha Partha Prabhavati Aharagami. That is second sentence. Well, when the Prajapati's night begins, all the bhutas, all the living beings, praliyate, they merge into the unmanifest. When Prajapati's day begins, Aharagame, Prabhavati, they again rise. So, not a single word is wasted here. Every one of them in its own way makes us see things in a different light. Then our attachment goes away. We get attached only because of narrow angle of view. Immaturity is marked by narrow angle of view. Maturity is where one is able to see things from different angles of view. And the behavior also changes. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.